Hi, friends and companions along this path of spiritual practice. This is the last of my Tuesday messages in the series of Minister's Message that we've maintained over this past year. But as we ready to say goodbye to Jan and Rob, and as we step into summer, and as we step into a gradual reopening for in-person gatherings, please watch as we restructure the minister's message, likely for once a week, but please watch for them. But for this final talk, I thought about a famous Zen koan. One day a young monk approaches Zen Master Yunmen and asks, "Master Yunmen, what is the goal of a lifetime's worth of meditation practice?" Master Yunmen answers, "An appropriate response." Zen meditation is a practicing of an appropriate response in the living encounters of our life together. We come together from our practice to meet and share our life together because this meditation, this spiritual practice is not about some house or a hut far away in the mountaintops or deep in the forest. It is about entering into the world and into the marketplace with an appropriate, skillful response as we meet one another. All living encounters imply their surrounding. All living encounters and conversations as people come together to say hello, to share their joys and sorrows, implies the larger context, the larger surrounding. It's about what happened in the immediate context of those two individuals, what they're bringing in their mind and hearts, or in the broader context of the world and society. Every living encounter implies context and its surrounding. And so Zen meditation is about intimate awareness of context, of surrounding, so that we might skillfully offer an appropriate response. You see, our words and our language, they are simply not only about being referential or being representational. Our speaking, our languaging isn't about referencing some information, some date, something that happened. Nor is it simply representational, words and language that give a name to represent that thing, that experience. Yes, words and language function in that way, but in a living encounter, it is so much more than that. Language and words, and what Buddhism means by right speech and right action. It is about language in which we are bringing a need for orientation to one another. It is a relational need so that whatever is communicated in our speech and action serves as an appropriate response. Our words and language holds within them this search for readiness, a readiness to meet the other person in a way that matters, in a way that is alive. All conversation, all words and language that are alive holds within it anticipation. We speak phrases and words, and we look into the eyes and the gestures of the other person, looking for sympathy, for understanding, for disagreement, for surprise, for agreement. But even with agreement, from our practice, we become even more sophisticated, more perceptive. We look for sympathetic agreement. That's different from a patronizing agreement, which is different from a hurried agreement or a reluctant agreement or an inconsequential agreement or an agreement that is a surprising agreement. Friends, from our lifetime's worth of meditation practice, we come to ever finer and finer perception of these dynamics in the living encounter of life together, so that what we offer more and more skillfully is that appropriate response. For what is held in that appropriate response is a recognition of our deepest humanity. Our deepest humanity that yearns to come awake. Our deepest humanity that is none other than Buddha nature itself. And so, what is the goal of a lifetime's worth of meditation practice? An appropriate response in the living encounter of our life together. And so we continue with this practice.